跳到后场, 跳到后场. In China, for some reason, if you go to any badminton tournament in China, crowds often shout, flick him, flick her, flick him, flick her. So I also heard this at the King's Cup. The crowd was shouting to Lin Dan, flick him, flick him, flick him. We want to see the backhand, flick him. Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Average Not Average podcast. Today is episode 17 and we have a guest, Ben Beckman. Hi Ben.
Hi CK, thanks for having me.
Yeah, unfortunately Victor couldn't make it during our recording time. He has some childcare duties. So parenting, he's a parent as a dad, he comes first, like the kids comes first, Vega and I comes first. So we completely understand and that's okay. He's actually left us some notes, for this session anyway. He's looked at them, all of it. And so we will actually talk about it, as and when we go along. So where are you now? So we're recording this the week after BXL.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm assuming you're back home?
I'm back home. I got back, what day is it now? Thursday in England. I got back very late on Tuesday. I was supposed to get back Tuesday morning.
Yes.
But my first flight got massively delayed. So then I missed my connecting flights there to rebook it. And then that flight got delayed. So I ended up arriving 12 hours later. It was almost like 2 days full of traveling. So I'm feeling pretty tired, especially off the back of the event as well, because it was a long week pretty much in Jakarta.
Yep.
But I'm back home now and getting back straight away into coaching, shooting videos, making content for UF. I was actually doing some this morning before we jumped on this. Yeah.
Okay. So, we will touch on all those, later on as we go along. But talking about BXL. So for anyone that isn't aware, what is BXL from words?
So for me, BXL is kind of a unique badminton team tournament. I know the idea is that it's supposed to complement the BWF World Tour, not compete with it. It's, obviously it involves the same players that we see on the World Tour, but it's supposed to have badminton in a kind of unique, fun and innovative way. So they have lots of things that you would never see on the World Tour. You got 3v3s. I always say 3v3 doubles. I shouldn't say that because it's not. But 3v3 games, obviously you don't get that at all. Timed format, pressure points.
Which is quite interesting, actually.
Going on. Yeah, there's lots of things that are different and they're trying to do. They obviously, little things like they cut down the time between games from 2 minutes to 90 seconds. Everything is designed around speed and quickness and entertainment and fun. So it's supposed to be something completely different from the World Tour, but supposed to add, maybe it's a way to get new fans in. They can do things with it that BWF simply, I don't think they should do, but probably couldn't do either.
Yeah. I mean, from a fan's perspective, so obviously I followed some of the matches throughout the week from there. Yeah, I really liked that the concept of time, so the matches are timed and then it's to a specific time. Once that is done, the opponents, if you're close enough, have a chance to actually catch up, overtake, win the match, win that set. If not, okay, we move on to the next set, keep going, and then if it becomes 4-all on the final fifth one, final point wins, first to 5, and that's it. There's no setting, there's no deuce, anything, so it adds a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I think the time format was really fun. There was never a game that dragged on too long. There's a few that went a little bit one-sided, especially if the game, I think the biggest scoreline was in the final with a 3v3 at the start. It was 3-0. The players actually celebrated and they didn't know they had to play the fourth game because in the groups, games counted, but in a final, it doesn't matter. You've already won. You won the tie point. That's all that mattered. So there was a bit of confusion. So when they came off for the fourth game, I think the score was like 22-10. It was ridiculous how many points they scored. But in general, the games were tight. They were competitive. And the time, I never really noticed it. There was a few times where, because in the last minute, they had this kind of like drum beat going to add more tension. And sometimes suddenly it would come on and be like, oh, wow, we're into the last minute because you get so wrapped up in the action. Also the time format added something a little bit different. A lot of the players, especially the singles players, noticed how it made them feel inside, a lot of more pressure. Okay. I think Victor actually spoke about it when he did have a chance to commentate. He said something like, you need to rush, you can't take too long, but you don't want to rush because then you can lose the point or you can play stupid. It was kind of how you balance those two things. It was quite interesting to see how the singles players especially adapted to that sort of format. So it was really cool and interesting. It was good to see things slightly differently to what we see on the World Tour.
And I guess it also ties in some way, like because the time clock is coming. So obviously on my notes, which I shared with you here, BWF will be implementing the time clock, so 25 seconds in between each rally. La di la di la. It's coming end of the year, and so we're already in October right now. And then this time clock that BXL is running as well, also in some way I thought gave the players, especially the singles ones, a little bit of a flavor of what it's like, especially if you're down. Like if the scores are close, but you're down. And then you see them just walk around a lot faster, start serving, So I think that's been in some way handy.
Yeah, what it showed to me is that players on the World Tour take far longer than they need to. I know, like, obviously, I think I watched your last episode with David, the umpire, and it's obviously players do dive around and stuff, so obviously that adds more. And players were diving, especially in the singles, not so much in the 3v3. And I know that's
I'm not sure you want to dive in 3v3.
No, you're gonna end up a little bit hurt if you do that. But the speed between the rallies was so much faster. Players were getting quicker already. And I'm not sure that was just because they wanted to get on with it if they were trailing, just in general, because that was something that actually, there wasn't a stop clock in BXL, although speaking to the organisers, that's something that they thought, they only thought a bit too late to try and implement, so they didn't do it. But there was rules for the umpires that if you time wasted, you got a warning, then you lost a point, then you lost 2 points. And then if 2 team members did it, the team lost 5 points from their total point score. So they added on other things to kind of incentivize. But no, the speed between the rallies was quick. There was a few times where like there was 10 seconds left on the stop clock. Always a shuttle being changed. Always, like little tactics, but in general, players got ready.
If you're leading, of course, I'm going to change the shuttle.
Yeah. The only players that seemed to be quite chilled was Kodai. I know he's someone that does take a little longer in general, but he got rushed a few times, but he was quite zen-like. And Anthony Ginting, as his matches went on, he got more comfortable with how long he should take. I think it did give him a bit of a flavour as to what the stop clock. And I do think that's a good idea. But like you spoke of in your last episode, how it's going to be implemented is going to be very, very interesting.
And that makes it interesting for us fans to follow as well. I think it's also a learning curve for everyone, including technical officials involved. But then also as fans, like we want to see the game move forward, the game actually become more transparent in a sense where it's more black and white, like instead of grey areas where human elements. I think we need to have the human element, but the human element can be a bit more structured, can be a bit more, it's clear, it's very transparent, and everyone can measure it in some way. So I think that's a good step forward.
Yeah, I think with the stop clock, what's going to be quite interesting is are they going to have like a visible clock for the players to see, or is it going to be literally like with the time games, the umpire calls?
Yeah, no, I think there's a physical clock everybody can see.
Clock. Okay, well then you can actually physical kind of go, okay, I've got this.
Yeah. I think so far the grey area I haven't caught up with newer material since we last spoke to David about it. It's when can umpires stop the clock because of like a shuttle change or a mopping that's needed on the floor? When do they do that? Because the current material documentation says that as soon as umpire updates the score, that stop clock starts.
Yeah.
So yeah, where is that? And then when can they stop it, and how can they stop it? So yeah, I think there'll be some form of debate going on, but it's super interesting to see. And actually, week 43 is almost next month, so we can actually see the first World Tour tournaments being eligible. Yeah. I think after the European legs, so I think after Hilo Open, all the World Tour tournaments are actually eligible to trial out that.
I'll tell you one thing that's interesting about that is the first tournament for players, say like Victor and the top, is going to be the World Tour Finals. That's quite a tournament to kick off.
I'm not sure they will implement World Tour Finals.
I was thinking that, whether they actually would, whether they're going to use those 100s and 300s as like a tester and go, okay, we'll better work this out, and then next year we know we're in a better position. World Tour Finals might be a bit of a
too big risk from that. I think the Indian World Tour tournaments, I think will have an opportunity, although it hasn't been publicly announced yet, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Otherwise, after the World Tour finals, the big one is Malaysia Open. That's also the huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's another one. Awesome. But you got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yep. So hopefully we see some action.
Yeah. No, I do think it's a good initiative by the BWF to kind of implement that, because, like you said, it objectifies it a little bit. Those kind of rules, you can't be completely, it's going to be open to the umpire's discretion, but you need to kind of close it in a little bit.
Help them as well, just to help the players, help the umpires as well. Yeah. Technical official.
That episode was interesting. I knew a fair bit about what the umpires had to go through because one of a member of the club that I work out was a very high up umpire called Val Andrews. Like she umpired, I think, mainly through I can't remember, it's spanned, and she's then become someone that does train up these people. So kind of she'd always bring umpires down to Wimbledon, so you kind of get an understanding of what the umpires have to go through. But I didn't quite know it was to that extent that it took that long, and
So yeah, I mean, because for me, I do have an opportunity to speak to some of the umpires when I'm at tournaments, but then everyone said very consistent things, and then so I think David summed it up really, really well, and I think it's a really underrated, underappreciated role, and so hopefully this helps fans understand the technical requirements as well as the commitment and the sacrifice needed to actually get these done. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them doing well.
Yeah, to bring it back to the BXL though, the umpires didn't actually have to do too. They weren't too involved. It's not that obviously they did their job, but the players, like I said, there weren't any warnings for time violations. There wasn't many service faults being called. I wasn't sure whether they're just being a little less strict than they would be on the World Tour. You're never quite sure if they've been told to be a little bit stronger in certain aspects. But the umpires really, I think there was 4 umpires that were there, and possibly 6, but they didn't have to. There weren't many contentious calls and kind of those kind of things. So yeah, it was quite.
Yeah.
Whether that's something that will change, I don't know, but
we don't know. But then also tying it back to Indonesia, you have connections to Indonesia personally.
Yeah, I have a
Your
lot. Your
wife is Indonesian, is it?
Do tell. There's a lot.
Tell.
So, how far back do you want me to go?
You tell us.
My mum was a professional player, and she won her world medal in Jakarta in I think 1983, 1980 maybe. I can't remember which one, but it was a long time ago. She won a world
slightly.
And then the first badminton tournament I ever watched on tape was the '94 Thomas Newby Cup. My mum had that on tape, and that had the legendary Mia Odina, 14-year-old, winning the Uber Cup against China. So I kind of grew up obviously talking to my mum about what it's like to play out there, and she would always tell me stories of how amazing it was. And then in 2008, I had the opportunity to get my first England cap at the Thomas Cup, which was held at the Astora. And then obviously my wife is from Indonesia as well. We got married in Indonesia. And so, and now my first commentary gig is in. That's so many connections. I go to Indonesia every single year for 3 or 4 weeks. I absolutely love it. The people are amazing. The food's great. I've been to loads of different, there's obviously so many islands, but I've been to a number of them, and a number of the towns and the cities, and each of them are unique, and all that kind of stuff. And, I've never had a bad experience, to be honest. I've been ill, which I think most Westerners do get ill. If you go to Asia, you're going to get it at least once or twice. But I have a lot of connections to Indonesia. Mainly it is my wife is Indonesian.
Okay. Do you speak any Bahasa at the moment?
No. I can understand it a little. I can read it very little. I can read okay. I did learn in lockdown. So in lockdown, we had lots of time. I was on the language apps, but I should know it. I should be better at it. But the problem is my wife's obviously lived in England since for the last 25 years. Obviously, she still speaks Indonesian perfectly. But so obviously, we communicate in English. I live in England. And the big part about learning a language is being immersed in it.
Being immersed,
The majority, I'm not. It's kind of, that's my excuse, but it's predominantly me on my behalf. I go over there all the time. Obviously, Indonesia's badminton following, and I'm trying to build my name. If I could understand and speak it and communicate with those fans even better, it's something that I should do, but I just, for whatever reason, time gets away from you, especially when you're busy. And I've got so many different things going on, and before you know it, you're like, oh, every time I go to Indonesia, I'm like, I should learn it. And then I'm like, next year, I'll at least get better. And then next year comes around and I've never moved it forward.
Yeah. Maybe it's time for you to pick up some tips from Matthias or Hans.
Yeah. I was actually speaking to him. I was speaking to him about how he learned it, and he said apps, and then he got lessons from the embassy. They were offering it and all this kind of stuff. But even he said that he's kind of got out of the rhythm, so his Indonesian's dropped a bit, but he can still
very good.
Yeah.
Pretty
well.
Still very, very good.
Yeah.
One last one for BXL commentary. How did you end up doing the commentary gig?
Okay, so obviously I've got a YouTube channel, and I started doing kind of these Beckman's breakdown shows where I talked about the World Tour events, and then there's obviously some. Yeah, I've got some stuff on
repping
here.
the brand.
Yeah, you got to. Haven't you? And obviously the BXL last year suddenly came up, and I thought, well, this is a good idea. This is something new, something I liked it. I watched most of it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something that could bring something a little bit different to badminton.
Mm-hmm.
And having watched it, I thought there was some good things and some things that could be better. So I was like, I'll do a little video on it. And one of the things I pointed out was the commentary, because the commentator last year, he wasn't particularly very good. He didn't understand badminton terminology. He would just kind of tell you what's going on. He used the word strike pretty much incessantly, which became a bit of a joke. Even now, it's become a bit of its own thing.
We still see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you still see it. Even my
media.
co-commentator tried to get a few strikes into his commentary because he thought it was... But anyway, I basically said that I think one thing BXL should do is change the commentary. And I basically said, well, if you're watching this video, BXL, then I'm happy to do it. I'm willing to give it a try. I've never done it before, but I think I could do a good job. And I thought nothing of it, if I'm honest with you. I thought, there's no way they're going to watch this. It's just going to be one of those parts.
Oh, they did.
Because when I got back, it was in, August earlier this year, not long before the World Championships, I got a message on Instagram from Badminton Excel saying that a new guy, Stephen, had come over to SPO TV. He'd done a lot of things with the World Table Tennis. He's been on behind the new tour in that, the WTT. And he wanted to kind of talk to me and connect with me. So we exchanged emails, had a phone call, and he explained a number of things where he wants to take BXL. And obviously off the back of that, he wanted me to be the commentator for it. So that's how that came about. There are a few other things he wanted me to do, like create some social media content, YouTube content. And then there was one other thing that came about when I was actually at the event, which was quite cool. But yeah, that's how the commentary gig came about. So lesson to anyone watching this, if you don't ask, you don't get. So sometimes doesn't matter if you say it, things can happen. So
you have to put yourself out there though. Put yourself out there, smash it in, and then manifest.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, that's amazing because I mean, from my side, similar because I have the YouTube channel, and then from there, people pick up things and then they reach out to you. Make sure, I think for anyone who's watching, that if you want to work on something that's your dream or that's your passion, put it out there, make it happen, put it out there, and then give people ways to contact you, because that is absolutely crucial. If people can find you, people know how to find you. I think what you want to work on can happen. So
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And actually, that was one thing. It was, I don't know what happened, what I did well, what I did to deserve this, but I had other people. I had, a big UK marketing retailer contacts me about working together on some things. There's a smaller badminton league within England called the Ultimate Badminton League. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
Yes, I'm aware. Yeah, they've invited me down a few times. Actually,
they've reached out. I've been having conversations with a few different people. Obviously, BXL's on the biggest scale. So I've had all these, and that's just from doing these videos and trying to become a bit of a personality within the badminton world. If you just do it, and a lot of people say the reason they reach out is that you can tell that you really have a passion for the sport, you really enjoy it, you love it, and that comes across in the stuff that you create. And I think that's what attracts people to kind of want to talk to you and maybe collaborate with you and stuff. And look,
absolutely,
I'm sat here now with you.
We're doing the same thing.
Video has done me. Yeah, it's got me on the Average Not Average podcast. So
exactly. Again. Yeah, and I think also the podcast also started because of presence on YouTube. Victor himself is also already very huge on YouTube. And when the idea came, both of us would just go, yeah, absolutely. Why not? And then so here we are. And again, we always really try and make it work. It's not often pretty in how we have to do it because everybody's so busy, but everybody makes time. Yeah, I'm very grateful that, I have the opportunity to speak to you, speak to a lot of our incredible guests. Everybody's absolutely kicking it, smashing it out there. And so we want to share this love for badminton, this love for the passion for the game. So absolutely, this is why we do it. So I can completely relate. Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. And then, so how will that change going forward? Because BXL is a privately funded tournament. So can you actually tell us a little bit more about the structure of BXL? So obviously, I know, but then a lot of our listeners are not aware, or a lot of our viewers are not aware. So BXL, is the parent host, SPO TV, which is a TV host broadcaster. And so I think for anyone who doesn't understand TV host broadcaster means, for say, if you want to watch the Olympics for a certain country, a TV host broadcaster have to go buy the rights from whoever that owns that event. So in the Olympics, it's probably the IOC, and then the IOC will then have a commercial media arm that is responsible for selling these to every single TV station all around the world. And so SPO TV is a host TV broadcaster. I think they're very, very big in Southeast Asia. And I mean, the HQ is in Korea. So it's actually a Korean TV station, but very, very well established in Southeast Asia. And they do a lot of badminton and also MotoGP. MotoGP, they do it incredibly well. And so SPO TV is the boss of
the
BXL.
top
Is that correct?
We had the CEO who actually shares your name, CK. He's also a CK.
Let's go.
Yeah. He was at the
You
event.
need to hook me up.
So SPO TV, it's their IP. It's not, they own the IP of, I think what they want to do is the XL is the IP, and then B, badminton, because they were talking about potentially doing it in a few other sports. And I think they mentioned paddle as being potentially one of them because that's growing.
So it could be
all the
PXL.
time. PXL, yeah, exactly. So that's the IP. That's what they're trying to create. And obviously they're trying to expand it. At the moment, last year was one event in Jakarta. This year, again, one event. I think from next year, they are looking to expand it. They talked about they will have potentially 4 events in the year.
Wow. Okay.
They're trying to sign up some key players that will be there, and maybe some other players around it might have to move around, obviously, depending on their availability.
They might need more commentators too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, something a little bit different. So yeah, no, that's it. They own the IP of XL or BXL in this case. That's the only one that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned that Korea is the main place.
HQ.
They had their broadcasting team was over from Korea. They were the main ones behind the scenes doing all the TV. Obviously, their team from Malaysia, Singapore doing like the graphics. And there was I'd never really been, obviously this is my first time being involved. Like the size and scale of an event like that, it's the amount of people.
I think people underestimate.
It's a really huge production.
Yeah, but I think people underestimate how much resource is required to pull off an incredible event.
Yeah,
I think in some way, in the nicest way possible, if there are no hiccups in any event, that means the event has been delivered incredibly well. I think it's only when hiccups happen and people go, oh yeah, this is not good enough, but actually they don't realize how many people are actually behind every single event. Yeah. So I mean, for me, the first things like even on the first day one, I was actually scouring like the TV view, just looking at okay, like we can see all the digital A boards, we can see the jib camera, and we can see all the technical people in terms of production, like all the camera crew and stuff like that. They're all running around, and I can see that they're all doing things.
And
I think people forget Historia is not that big a hall.
No, it's not that big. There's not much room to play with. Our commentary space, you shared it with a lot of the people that were producing, had the kind of timeline going, everything was kind of down to the second. That another thing was quite amazing is that when they're doing a production, everything is done to the absolute nth degree. I didn't realize, I expected a little bit of that, but I thought there'd be more flexibility. They were really... No.
Live TV has no flexibility.
No, but what was quite good was obviously... Say after day one, there were a few things they wanted to change. So the post-match interviews that I did, they changed the position for day 2 because they're like, that doesn't look as good. It could be better. They were correcting the camera ever so slightly to get it even better. They were, one of the things was there's a few people commenting online about they couldn't hear the captain speaking in the intervals and they wanted that. Yep. And so we were given the instructions to be quiet as commentators then, and they mic'd them up. Although that kind of faded a little bit towards the end. I think they kind of where the captains were, they kept moving around, and I think made it more difficult to kind of. There was a lot of frantic energy, but they were trying to improve things as they went, and so after every day we'd finish at 10:30, 11. Some of the people would be there for another hour or two working to get it better for the next day. So yeah, the amount of effort that the team, and then they'd be there early in the morning. They were working very long days to make sure that it was good. And from what I gather, I was speaking to the director, a lady called Stephanie, and a guy called John who was helping from Korea, and they were pretty happy with how things went. And even Des, who was my co-commentator, who was originally a producer, so he's looking for things through that angle. Even he said that in general, there were maybe 1 or 2 mistakes, but it wasn't anything too major. It all went pretty pretty well for them. So I think that's a
Yeah.
credit to the hard work that those teams put in.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think people don't realize how difficult and how tough it is to set up an event like this. I mean, I've had the opportunity to see from behind the scenes, like operating in terms of the media perspective, not TV media, but then digital media, so social media. So we work with a lot of tournaments, delivering content like that. A lot of people don't know that it's our team, but that's how it should be actually, technically. Yeah. And so as long as we deliver a good job, and so I think we can really appreciate the amount of effort and also the amount of the need and the want to keep improving, keep getting better. Because, for example, like last year, I don't think it was even streamed internationally. But this year it was on YouTube. A lot of fans, I know a lot of people in Europe, like a lot of my friends, they watched BXL on YouTube, and they were, we were talking about it at the club, at training. So I think it's been a really, really good job.
They're really happy. I think the bringing in this guy to Spo TV, the one from Table Tennis, Stephen, I think was a huge plus. Even speaking to CK, the CEO, he was like, when he found out that he was available, he snapped him up immediately. His ability to kind of be able to wove a narrative and a story into a tournament, which was something new to me. I was like,
you have to sell it.
Makes sense. But I was like, never really thought to kind of create something like this where you're trying to build a storyline, a narrative that you can get behind. And he was trying to always tell that to us as commentators to kind of keep building that along as the tournament goes. But some of the initiatives, he made things so much clearer. So one example was last year, they had a pressure point kind of thing, but they kept changing the name, like Golden Point or by 2 points or this. So he was like, no, we need to make it much clearer. And we need to it. And I thought some of the little changes that he brought in were absolutely amazing. And they doubled their social media presence. The ticket sales were actually not too bad, especially on Finals Day. It did get quite busy in there. Obviously, I think a big part why they didn't sell as much is their marketing started a bit late. And they know that. They ideally would have liked 3 to 6 times as long, which I think they're going to do for next year. For future editions. They're on that for next time. But for a number of reasons, their marketing did start a bit late again, which was a bit of a shame. But based on a lot of the metrics, they're pleased with how the event went.
Yeah. And also I think how big the team is. So for example, like we notice, like say in terms of media production. So every team has like a media day, the 2 days before the league starts, that's the media day. And then I think each team has like designated storyboards, like actions and poses and team events. And I think having a team event is always really fun, whilst you have the added complexity of managing so many players. However, when the players gel together, absolutely amazing. Like the atmosphere, the vibe from the players, I think is the real key selling point for me, in my opinion. And I think it transcends whatever country the players comes from. It doesn't matter anymore. They're all having fun, and then that the fun comes off that really well in terms of social media and digital media, and having access to that is really key.
I think the players really enjoyed themselves. You can tell from their social media posts after the event how they felt really well looked after. I definitely felt well looked after, and the players were incredibly well looked after.
Were you in the same hotel as?
No, I actually, you're going to laugh, I stayed at my mother-in-law's house.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's the dream.
She lives very close to the Astoria.
Okay.
And, so
that's a great neighborhood to be in.
Yeah, no, she lives in a really nice, she does live in she's got a big house, like it's nice. Like it's, you'd probably say it's better than most hotels, but so I felt that it would be a chance for me to kind of spend some time. Well, I didn't get to spend much time with her because I was really, really busy.
In and out. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I obviously saved them a small bit of costs on the hotel.
Yeah. Every bit counts, really.
Yeah. But no, I didn't stay with the hotel. Maybe if they obviously do things in different countries, I would, and I'm asked to go again, then I would be within the players. There was a few different hotels that there was a players hotel, and then obviously the higher up staff, and then some of the production crew were in different hotels, but all very close to one another.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Wow. No, that's good. Okay. Well, personally, I would love to see more editions of it. I think obviously in some way, like if me and my team, we can get involved in some way, we would love to be able to contribute and help as well, because I think it's always really interesting seeing how other teams deliver an event. And then especially when it's a commercially funded tournament, the objectives sometimes are slightly different to what we're normally used to.
Yeah.
I think, and also competition is good. Like it's competing products for the badminton fan. And I think that's a exciting period coming up for badminton. I like
Definitely.
that.
But I do think like the BXL, their big thing was that they didn't want to say we're competing. We're complementing was their terminology, which I think is correct because they're different entities. Like you said, this is a commercial, fun tournament. It's obviously a bit serious as well. The players did take it seriously, but it's to give players more opportunity. It's to broaden the reach of badminton as a sport.
Because I think I would say maybe like up to 5 years ago, the only chances of us watching players in a non-formal, loose environment was exhibition matches, which tend to happen depending on which country you're in. Say maybe if you're in Korea, it happens a lot more. If you're in China, it happens a lot more. But say in Europe, it almost never happens. And if they do, it's not global players. It's a very specific set of players, within each location. And so now you have BXL, you have like King's Cup and Lindan Cup, and then potentially we also have like Women's Badminton League coming up very, very soon in December. You now suddenly have opportunities to see players playing with different teams, playing with different partners, playing in different locations, 3v3, who knows, could be, I don't know, 6v6 on 2 courts lined to each other. I don't know, but like this is an idea because 6v6 we do it in training, so you go, well, this could happen.
Yeah,
big long net. Across 2 courts, big long net. Like if we somehow make it into a format, absolutely, why not? But I think something like this is interesting, and it really, in my opinion, as a fan, looking at it from a fan's perspective, it really allows us to see badminton from a different side, a more light-hearted side. I think from the BWF's perspective, absolutely, you want ranking points, you need to be structured. You want Olympic qualification, you have to be structured. This I completely agree, and this is in addition. Whilst the commercial tournaments and leagues are in addition, I think this is something great for fans to be able to tap into as well.
Yeah, because the last thing I say when it comes to exhibitions, usually players, the level, like there's no seriousness to it. So it almost becomes, it's good to see the players pulling off some great stuff, but it's almost a glorified knock-up at times. It can get a little bit...
Glorified knock-up is a very, very good term to use, really.
Sometimes get a bit boring. After a while, whereas this had, like you say, players were fun and stuff, but there was quite a lot of seriousness to it, so they played more seriously, so you kind of got the best of both worlds. This year was far more serious than last year, especially 3-3s. The players were on that stuff. They were I was talking to the players, they were talking about tactics and what they can do differently, lineups. They were really taking that seriously, whereas last year it was almost like 3 players in one spot. Might be a bit of rotation, some diving and stuff, but in general, they kind of just played. They didn't really think too hard. Whereas this year, it was, you could tell they were thinking about how to rotate around each other. Should we have 2 at the front, 1 at the back? Who's going to be at the front? It was really, really cool and interesting to see.
Maybe talking about table tennis, I would love to see, for example, not even 3v3 at this point, maybe doubles where they apply table tennis rules. No player can hit twice on the same side.
So they have to alternate who hits.
Yeah. So you have to.
I've tried to alternate. That coaching with school stuff because most kids just stand still, and they absolutely love it. And it gets a bit it gets
chaos,
a bit mental,
chaotic. Yep. So I would love to see that
approach that. Exactly. Yeah. Fun, but
and then if it really goes well, expand it to 3v3. I think key point being safe. You have to be safe. Maybe that's why 3 people on 2 courts might work. I don't know. Or maybe 6 people on 2 courts might work. But like borrowing some table tennis concepts.
I think the point is the possibilities are endless. What they can do. And I know that they're thinking about new things for next year. They wanted me, I've already recorded a video on my thoughts on how this year went. And I said, well, where are you going to get, because they took a lot of my feedback on board from my video. They kept saying to me, we took it seriously and we tried to implement it in our own ways. And I think they did. They want the same this year. And I said, well, I was part of it. So I'm going to ask my audience to the comment section to come up with their ones, and I probably would say I like your own audience to do the same. That would be quite cool. What they would like.
Well, maybe I should do a short video, post it on on YouTube.
I'll see you next year, CK.
Yeah, we never. I'm manifesting now. I'm manifesting now. Yeah, not sure if I'll get copyright issues though. If I borrow some of the footage. But I think I really like the doubles, but in alternate hitting.
Okay.
Like no same player can hit twice. Every other rule can be kept the same way.
I had one because I know they wanted to get singles players involved in 3v3s, and obviously they had the unlimited substitution rule in the 3v3 as well. And there was discussions about potentially having substitutions for singles, which I thought was quite a good idea. The only problem is you'd have to expand the team. So there have to be more players because, you simply can't, unless you trade a doubles player for a singles player. But I thought that if you substituted in a singles game for a doubles player, if they won a point, they get 2 points. So because they're not singles players. Or if a singles player goes on to 3-3 and that team wins, they get 2 points. It's just a way to maybe incentivize the singles players to come on, or the doubles players. So you get to see the players do something in a different environment. That could be quite fun.
Yeah.
Whether the doubles players would want to play singles, probably not. I doubt it.
I mean, I saw Matthias playing with Anthony Ginting, but then I think that was just training / warm-up. I tell you what, all the players are really handy no matter what discipline they are in. And so I think it'd be super interesting. I think I saw Victor and Jonathan Christie playing the last bits of the 3v3 before the final sudden death.
Yeah.
Because there's no chance for warm-ups, and then being able to actually do that. And then I just want to add on that one as well. I think as commentators, it's really important for you and your colleague Des here, like really allowing fans when they dip in or out of the matches wherever, and you guys explaining the rules, because obviously we're used to the usual normal rules, but then BXL is completely different. And so that was really helpful, because personally for me as a fan, I didn't go look up what the rules are. Obviously at the start 3v3 is okay, what's going on? But after that, like the timer, the clocks, what happens, and it allows us to dip in and out whenever we need to as fans, because whilst we'd love to sit through 2.5 hours, we can't, unfortunately. And so it allows us to do that. Really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the start of each broadcast, they had like the graphics, and Des would expertly, he was honestly like a magician next to me, like how he can just come off things. It's like comes off the top of his head.
Professional, that's what we call total professional.
When you sat next to it and you really hear it there, and like it's quite an incredible, it's a really good skill. Like it's a rare skill. Like
it's a skill. It's good.
Yeah,
it's a skill.
And I think it's because it's from his producer background. He would then, like you say, he would occasionally go, right, it's a pressure point. This is what it means, or 3-3, and this, or he'd constantly go like, BXL, this is badminton, it's serious, it's fun, but there's money on the line, and it's different. And he'd constantly keep interjecting, explaining to people watching who might have just tuned in what is going on, because otherwise, if you turn that on, you'd be like, what is this? This is, it makes no sense.
And this is the feedback we get for the podcast from our side as well, because I've had feedback fed to me and said, look, when you're talking about a new thing, explain it, because and this is why I explained like what SPO TV was to everyone who's actually watching or listening, because I think it might be common for us, but it will not be common for everyone, and so I think it was important for us to actually explain that a little bit. But no, it's good, really good. Okay. I asked Victor about commentary on BXL, and he goes, unfortunately, I didn't commentate with Ben. What I did do was a commentator on that one match. He said it was fairly short, but actually, still fun. But I'd rather be the one that's playing. Of course.
I was sat next to him in the stands. So I was listening, I was watching the stream, because I was literally right next to him. You couldn't hear like his commentary, because it's quite loud, obviously, with the hitting. And the crowd were getting quite vocal, so I was listening in, and I thought he did a really good job. I mean, I'm in no position to kind of critique anyone's commentary. I've only done it once myself, but Victor speaks well. He comes across well. He's knowledgeable. He obviously played down there, been by the courts. He knows the players, so the stuff that he did bring was really interesting. And it made me feel better. That felt quite good. That the stuff he was saying was similar to what I'd been saying the week. I was like, I must be onto something. I'm not talking absolute rubbish.
Yeah, the Olympic champion is talking about similar things to me. Yeah. So either he's copying me, or actually I'm doing well. But yeah, I think it's also new roles as well. And I think personally for me, seeing players going onto commentary booth and trying different skill sets and different positions within the badminton sphere, I think makes them better players, and also gives them better perspectives of how things are done and why it has to be done in a certain way. Like you said, live TV, there's no room for any extra second. It has to go down to the second. And a lot of people don't really appreciate how challenging and how technically demanding it is. And now that you've been through that process for commentary, you go, okay, this is why they go, okay, you can't talk during intervals. We want to hear the captains, we want to hear the coaches, X, Y, and Z. And these are all little iterations that everybody's getting better.
And it was little things like, I'd be talking about, Des would introduce the players for the most part. I did one introduction in the final of when Ginting and Naroka came out. So he asked me to be the lead for that, which was, I was, Yeah, I was like, oh God, he was like, no, Ben, you need to do this. I think you've done
It's
well.
good practice.
I think you should give this a go. And I was like, okay, let's do it. But what was quite difficult was you talk about a player, but you've got to keep one eye on the action, one eye on the monitor. Because obviously if it cuts to a different thing and you don't want to be talking about, say, Ginting when Naroka's on the screen or for too long. So you're like, to keep things concise and you're talking. And then when you notice it change, you suddenly got to change what you were going to say and shorten it. And that was quite stressful. Well, stressful is the wrong word, but it was something to get used to.
It's a good challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge. Yeah, you had to keep an eye on so many different things.
Do you have a producer in your ear saying, okay, Ben, Des, cut in, okay.
Although she didn't actually speak too much, she would say, we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or cue, or go into interview now. Like basically little things, basically cueing us for certain things. But there was never any nothing major. She didn't speak too much. I think that might mainly been down to Des knew exactly what he was doing. So knew what's happening. Or maybe that's her style, or maybe we were just nailing it. Like, there was no need
I'd take option 3. You both were absolutely smashing it out of the park.
Yeah. It was really good fun. I mean, I was nervous for the first few minutes, and the first few minutes of every broadcast, of every match, because I didn't know what Des was going to ask me. But then once the matches are on, the action's going, it was, for me, it was
this,
second.
like us.
Yeah.
We're just chatting. It's not an interview, it's a chat.
Yeah, it's a chat. It became like that. It became second nature. And you kind of get more comfortable. You don't feel like you need to speak all the time. Don't have to rush anything. You can just say what you think. It worked really well.
Was there like a little internal system between you and Des? We go, okay, you want to interject and speak something, say something on the feed. You just put your hand up, and then he will just go, okay, yes.
There's a few times where we spoke before. We had a chat over Zoom. I think it was, in the build up before the event, before we even met each other. Obviously on the first day when we were doing some testing and stuff, we were speaking, we chatted over, every single time. We spent a lot of time together, and he was excellent at guiding me and giving me advice. But there was a few times where we would go to speak at the same time. And then most of the time for that time, he would just either put his hand up or he would give me a thumbs up, you go. And he's like, he's going to shut up. Or vice versa. He was giving some cues just to basically.
There's from a communication. Yep.
Most of the time, if we crossed over, he would let me speak. And then he can pick up from anywhere. He was really good at just kind of picking up.
Making it flow.
Yeah, he was an expert at that. Yeah, he was really easy to work with. He was really, really easy. He was great fun.
That's awesome. Okay. Right. I want to move on to another topic, which you're also often on screen, BWF community. So both you and I are part of the official BWF community, where essentially BWF community, for anyone that doesn't really understand, is we produce content for BWF, but from a creator's perspective. I think the official term that they use for us is influencers, but I don't know who I'm influencing beside myself. But I think the official term they give us is influencers. But the official community of content creators, so we have people like you, me, Gronya, some of the players now, and then we now also have some new creators. And we primarily create for TikTok.
Yes.
We primarily create for TikTok, occasionally on YouTube, but quite rare nowadays because the in-house team is doing such a good job on the in-house feed. And so we primarily created content for TikTok. And then, so Ben, when did you start? How long ago was this?
So I started, it was in lockdown actually, in 2020. I had, a year or so before, I'd been doing some YouTube stuff with Swift Badminton, which was quite a big channel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you remember.
Yep. Yes, I remember.
And so I was working with
Henry.
Henry. I don't know. He went by the name Jonathan on there. So, but his real name, was Henry. And so we worked together for a number of years. And obviously lockdown put a bit of a stop to that. Plus there were some other issues. But we'd worked together really well. Obviously he was a member of the club. I'd actually coached him for a number of years. So we knew each other for a while. And so that kind of got me back into editing and making videos. And then I had left my head coach's role to kind of carry that on. But that kind of fell apart. So then lockdown happened. I was kind of like, what am I going to do for work? Obviously coaching isn't going on. And then BWF started this new community thing. They were looking for people, and they actually reached out to Henry originally, but Henry wanted to move on to other things outside of badminton. So he basically said, you should speak to Ben. He's the badminton player within our partnership. He can edit videos. I think he knows a lot about badminton. So I got talking with a guy called Tim Stott.
Yep.
You might know Tim.
Yes. I know Tim,
HBF.
Yes.
And so we had a few conversations. I did a few tester videos, and he was like, yeah, this is exactly what we want. Started with just doing one video a week, mainly for Facebook at the time. occasionally on Instagram. And I basically just was like, right, every single week I'll make a video. And so I was, I think maybe alongside you, one of the only ones doing it really consistently, like didn't miss a week. And I haven't missed a week in 5 years. I've done a video. And over the last, then that's expanded to where now over the last 2 or 3 years, I've done 2 videos a week. And then at, say, tournaments like the Olympics, videos every day, Thomas Cup, a few extra videos, the major tournaments, so it's kind of grown. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into that and how it's kind of, expanded and gone from there. So yeah. That's how I got into the community.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, so my first one was also Tim. But then I think it was introduced via BWF to Tim. Mine was 2022, and actually it was because I attended the All England, and then BWF knew who I was from the in-house side, and then they go, okay, we will introduce you to the people who manages that. If they're happy with you, then let's go. And so for me, it's been since 2022, and it's been every single month nonstop. And then because they stagger mine. Because I think yours is you talk a lot about what happens on the world tour, reacting to tournaments, reacting to players. And so we don't want to create content that is identical to yours. And so hence I do a lot more of the equipment side of things. I do a lot more of the outside the actual tournaments. And then because now I also travel to a few more tournaments, and I then have the opportunities to do some more like light-hearted interactions and activations with the players. Yeah. But yeah, like it's very cool. I think it's cool that BWF is really investing in badminton, not just traditionally, professional tournaments players play, done. Like it's trying to get a community around it and a community of creators. Besides, I think us two might be the more regular ones, but I personally love seeing a lot more people coming on it, showing their taste of badminton, showing their side of badminton. Not everyone needs to talk about badminton like we do, but then like really, really important. But 5 years is quite cool.
Yeah, I've been there 5 years. I'm probably the longest standing member. I think
you're the OG. I think you're the OG.
I was probably the first one to do a video for the BWF community. I can't remember who else was doing it around the time. I think they had Bellatrix doing. They had a few others. They had the girl from Australia. I can't remember her name. Jasmine something. They did a few.
I know
she did some like. Reviewing of fashion and stuff.
But get ready with me content before get ready with me was a thing.
I think the problem for that, why it's a little easier for me to make consistent, because like you said, I talk about tournaments and I talk about players. That's constantly changing. There's always more stories. But if there's only so many videos you can do on what a player's wearing or a fashion. I mean, I'm always quite amazed at how you're able to make all these different content ideas on different equipment and but you always seem to have a different spin on it. So that's quite a skill. Obviously, my stuff has changed a little bit since they moved to TikTok. I sometimes, obviously, during a tournament, it'll be about the tournament. They want more at the moment. It's a big push for videos that can appeal to badminton fans and non-badminton fans. So it's been quite evergreen. Like an amazing shot, or the player that does the best smash or stop drop, or this funny moment, or this crazy dive. It's all about high moments that I can kind of give a little bit of explanation behind and highlight. Like I did one on, I think, Toei Wei doing that funny part where she shadowed the flick serve.
Yes.
When she was playing against Wang Dong.
I saw that one. Yes, I saw that one.
That was like, I saw that moment someone put it onto Instagram. I was like, saved it, and I could do something with that.
So I can give you a little bit more context of that one. So she only did that because the crowd shouted, flick her, flick her.
Yeah, I thought that's what they said, because I saw originally a video where someone had translated it. But
yeah, because in China, for some reason, if you go to any badminton tournament in China, crowds often shout, flick him, flick her, flick him, flick her. So I also heard this at the King's Cup. I think when during the exhibition match, Lin Dan and Taufik was on the other side, the crowd was shouting to Lin Dan, flick him, flick him, flick him. We want to see the backhand, flick him. So and then I consciously noticed that happens a lot in Chinese tournaments, and so like fans would shout "Tiao da hou chang, tiao da hou chang," that means flick him, flick him or her, and then that was what Yiwei heard, and then that's why she went, okay, I will shadow to the back.
Originally on the video I put out, I had a little section saying that's probably linked to, because obviously in the world final they flicked Wei Yaxin like pretty much all the time to win. That maybe that was why they were saying it's almost get revenge. But the guy that I work with Tom, they were like, no, maybe that's not true. I don't know. But he was like, you can just leave that part out because it still works really well. So there's also part of the process. Sometimes I usually make them a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it right.
Same.
And then sometimes you're like, no, just cut this. And he's usually pretty spot on. He's got a good eye for that kind of stuff.
Tom's also my contact now.
Away from this, but he's like, no, it will still work. Don't worry. You don't need to explain every little detail. Things you to do.
Tom's an absolute legend from our side. So we also work with Tom directly.
Because I always work with Tim, and because he was quite high up, sometimes getting.
He's very busy.
Yeah, he was so busy. But with Tom, obviously, it's his job. Like he's much more responsive. He's got more
same
time. But yeah, I like working with him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolute legend. Same. I think similar process for me. Started with Tim, and then it was because Tim's so busy. It's quite difficult to get a feedback on time, and then production would then be slowed down a little bit. And then Tom came in fully dedicated to the BWF project, and then absolute legends. I mean, both of them, because Tim has so much insight and also so much experience, and what he says just literally cuts through. And then in terms of production, that helps you grow. It's not that they want to put you down, but it's honest comment. It's honest feedback, which is absolutely crucial as a development for content creators. And then Tom, absolutely loved working with Tom, our whole team. So he has access to our team, and then that's why the production is a lot smoother from that side.
I'm in contact with Tom all the time. Tim was good. Like when I spoke to him about the Olympics, he gave me the brief. This is what we want every day. And it was it was like a 10-minute phone call. He was able to go through so much so quick. He's just like to the point. And I was like, I got it. You nailed. I understand exactly what you want me to do, and let's do it. And then it's quite easy.
Internally, there's like a little inside joke that we have as from my team. If we go through a full month without Tom saying, as soon as the guys come back and go, all good, no changes needed, we want to do that a full month. For every single video that we submit, no changes needed. That was always our goal. Like, so we have an internal thing. And throughout the last 3 years, this has happened only twice.
Wow.
But twice was actually, I think this year, both of them this year. Yeah. So we've only gone that. And that's something we're really proud of.
The biggest compliment from Tom, I think I did 5 videos in a row and I do for might have been 5 weeks, or it was definitely a month where I went, and he actually said, "You're on a roll, Ben. You're nailing it right now, because there's nothing I can change." And the next video, there was a whole list of changes. So clearly,
come back down to earth, please.
Yeah, exactly. But most of the time, they're little things, and it might be like, "Oh, this frame's a little shaky," or there's one frame of black space at the end that you just missed.
Yeah,
it's been a while since there had to be a real change. There really hasn't been that. Too much, generally speaking.
Yeah, I think just thinking about similar for us. Like a lot of times, it's just maybe just move one frame here, move one frame there, or this is too jittery. Speed this up or slow this down normally. But then we're really, really proud of those 2 months, the twice in 3 years where. No, all good, no changes needed. We go.
That's the best.
Let's go.
The best text to get, isn't it? It's the best message to get when he says, "All good." Send it to me.
Yeah. But then it's so good because that then teaches us so much as a team internally, like for our workflows as well, which is now what we apply to a lot of our professional work. Yeah, and so working with Tim and Tom really sets a very, very high standards, and I really, really enjoyed working with them.
I've got to a point where I could probably do the one video I did this morning. I did it in 45 minutes from start to finish.
Wow.
I mean, my stuff is not I had it all kind of set up. I'd script. I did that, not including writing the little script, though they don't take very long.
Yeah.
It's just a production. And it's because I have all this detailed feedback that I'm I've had this bit in and no, I can take that out. Tom will tell me to take that out. So I'm going to take that out myself. And he's like, so you can learn it. So he does actually, without you realize, learning.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we learned so much by working with Tim and Tom, where internally our workflows are so much more better, so much more efficient. And then, and I also have to give a shout out to Fee from my team, who really, really absolutely nails a lot of the stuff. And then that really helps me, opens up my time to be able to try and focus on something else. So she's absolutely amazing from that part of things. And like you said, we agree. And so we're very, very proud of the no changes needed. So we'll always keep trying. We'll always keep trying.
That's the goal.
But in saying that, so you just mentioned that you finish your coding in 45 minutes. You're quite an early riser. Like the first messages I got from you this morning was 5:40 in the morning.
Yeah.
What's your wake up time daily? Is that a normal thing?
Monday to Friday. Well, not Friday's a little later, but usually about 5:15 in the morning.
Friday's 5:15.
Friday is like 6:30 because it's our
Okay.
rest. It's my
So
it's rest
hang
day.
on. Okay, hang on. So for anyone who's not used to 6:30, that means 6:30, because I had this issue when I went to Germany. A lot of my colleagues, 6:30 to them is 5:30.
Oh, half an hour to 6, isn't it? That's what they. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 6:30 is on a Friday. Monday
Okay,
through Thursday is
6:30 in the UK is 6:30.
5:15. It's all stems because my wife leaves for work at 7:30 in the morning. And my stepson now is off to university. So obviously before then we had to get him up for school and get him ready. So we'd like to work out. So we'd do it before work. And actually, although having said that, we now do another workout most days in the evening as well. So we do extra stuff. But it used to be, we found it better to work out in the morning than in the evening or after work when you're tired. Especially with me, I'm sometimes coaching till a bit later in the evening. It made things difficult. So it's something that we've done for many years. So it's just, I'm used to being
nice.
quite
really good.
early.
What time do you go to bed?
We usually kind of like turn off the TV and get in bed between 8:30 and 9, maybe asleep half an hour. So it's relatively early.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that kind of stuff.
No 10 o'clock news for you.
No. So yeah, no, I
find out tomorrow morning.
I'm not bad at getting up. There's some mornings where you just like, especially when it gets now it's sunny
winter
and it's dark, it's cold, and the last thing you'll do is get out of the bed. But in general, I always feel better once I've kind of finished my morning workout. But yeah, no.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely amazing, because just seeing that routine and discipline as well, because I think waking up at 5:15 is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea.
No.
Unless it's for a reason, like catching a flight, whatever, interviews, But yeah, because I've noticed that, like, just following you online, like say your Instagram stories and stuff like that, like you often have your 6 a.m. runs or something like that previously, and then and you do your workouts, and it's like this morning I got your message at 5:40, something like that, and go, okay. I mean, I wasn't really surprised, but then I think it was something that I really wanted to talk about during our.
Like I said, it all started off just fitting in time to exercise, and the morning was always the best, and it's kind of something we just kept going. And now, even though we do some like evening stuff as well, like after work, sometimes separately, sometimes together, we still keeping it the early mornings. So but trust me, every
she
morning,
plays badminton.
Both of us are like, should we just go back to bed? Every morning that conversation happens, but every 99 times out of 100 we're like, nope, we need to get up, we're just going to get up and we're going to do it. But you don't obviously, if you're listening to this and you want to start a routine, you don't have to get up that early. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make you any more
6 o'clock is fine.
It doesn't make you any more hardcore, because you could do the same workout at 9 o'clock in the morning if you can, and you can go to bed. It doesn't, as long as you're doing something, I think that's the main thing. It just obviously sounds quite cool. Sounds hardcore. I am at 5 a.m.
like next thing, ice water ball. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, next thing, ice water ball, or like ice bath in the morning. First thing, I don't know, but yeah, maybe it's something for you. Yeah, maybe it's next time, like you can do your intro. Hi, I'm Ben Beckman, and I get up at 5:15. Something like this.
Everyone watching kind of don't care. What's that?
But it will be like something will stick from that perspective. Sure. Okay. So I want to move on very, very quickly. I think we're actually on an hour already. So we normally only record for an hour, but we do have some more time. I want to talk to you a little bit about Ben, the player. So you played at international level. I think you finished playing at 2012. So it's not that long ago, but also not too recent from that perspective. For people that don't aware that you were an elite player back in the day, how was Ben the player like? Now that you're here, you're a commentator now, and you comment on every other single professional player on the planet. So I thought it's only fair you comment on yourself. As well.
So the player, I would say I was a very attacking player. So when I played singles, my mindset was to attack absolutely everything. Smash net was kind of like a perfect way to summarize how I played. There wasn't too many layers to my game. I think had I carried on, because I was only 24 in 2012, I'd like to think that I would have evolved and adapted and added some new layers to my game. But it was something that got me obviously a fair amount of success, but there was a lot of things that you come against players that can get used to that. I came unstuck. So I was definitely at a stage where I would have probably needed to change, but I was aggressive, attacking, relentless, I'd probably say. I was quite a physical player. Like training wise, I would train until I throw up quite often. You can see I get up now, like I guess we just spoke about
the 5:15 works.
I still train really hard now. It's obviously different training, but back then I was known within my own group at Wimbledon of being a bit of a nutter when it comes to physical training. So physically very, very good, but I did a lot of things that you'd probably deem unprofessional. I trained really hard, but I also partied pretty hard. I was a old person. I think I had a bit of a reputation for that. There's some stories of nights out at some of the European tournaments that kind of stuff.
Legendary nights out, I'm assuming.
Some legendary nights out. So looking back now as at 37, obviously a little bit more mature, if I was coaching myself, I think I'd have had to get better control or found a way. It wouldn't have just been, don't do that, but it would have been, okay, you can do that now. You can go one night out, but we need to kind of tighten the ship. We can't be doing too many crazy things like that. But, so I would professional at periods, unprofessional. I didn't get that balance right. But in terms of my playing style, it was pretty much all out attack. Was kind of the easiest
all the
way
time.
It was more of it came across in my training. So I didn't like to trail. I'd always want to be leading. And like I said, sometimes that's a good thing, but I came unstuck against, when you get to a certain level, you just come unstuck, and I would have needed to have evolved as a player, which I stopped before I really got the chance to do that.
And is that fair for me to say you also had a reputation for some form of temper on court? Like if things
I
way?
Definitely had a bit of an anger. I would definitely get angry.
Because you're the speed and power player, so you have the energy, you're bringing it all the time, the intensity.
Things would spill over, definitely. That's something actually I got under control. Like I stopped in 2012, but I actually came back in 2014 for a year. Because my wife introduced me to insanity training, and it got me into like the best shape of my life. So I came back and played a little bit, got back in the England team. And although I still had that fiery temper, it was definitely a lot less. And now I'm like the most chilled out. I would probably say I'm so much more chilled out as a player. Like it's probably because I just don't care whether I want to win, but I not as much. I was too like this the whole time.
Yeah.
But there was some moments at some European tournaments where things got a little bit, I got almost black carded once or twice.
Almost. Well, okay. So David said in the history that he's known, there's only 3. So Ben Beckman could have contributed to one or two more.
Got black card. I can't say the first one. I definitely can't say online why, because it involves some very bad language. But the other one was, I think actually it's funny because Victor mentioned Bulgaria, didn't he? Where him against Kestutis.
Yeah. Kestutis. Yeah.
I had some interesting matches in Bulgaria because the umpires there especially if you get a newbie, someone who's just come to that level and they're trying to learn. And I actually think I might be misremembering the Italian umpire, Fabio, that you see now.
Do
you know Fabio? It might have been him. He was an Italian umpire.
He's a name dropping him.
Me and the guy that were playing, we were both the same. And there was one point where he overruled something in his favor. I was like, what? And he overruled it back to me. Then my opponent said, no. And then he overruled it back. And I was like, this umpire is, I shouted it, and although he didn't have control, I could see him like wanting to get some sort of count out, but he didn't because he didn't have the experience. But I definitely came quite close to
at that point in time. Yeah. But then so umpires are not allowed to dish out black cards. It's the tournament referee that has to be able to. Only they can dish out the black card, and so I think umpires have the yellow and the red, and then they have to then refer higher up, escalate it.
Oh, okay.
Tournament referee.
Always been the case? Is that always?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Well, maybe
yes.
I didn't come as close as I thought. I remember one of them at a junior tournament, Dutch junior. It was actually Freak Cox, or was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alu, yes.
Yeah. The umpires called the lines at that tournament, and I was playing mixed doubles against one Dutch player and one other. I can't remember where he was from, and because he was Dutch. There was some I was meeting with, and I used some colourful language.
Yeah.
He said after the match that he could have referred to black card me. I can't repeat the language I use. I wouldn't want to.
No, don't.
Yeah, no. So, yeah,
Okay.
you're right. My temper sometimes did flare up at the wrong times. I would definitely
Because so even though whilst I wasn't as I'm not so back in that day, so that was actually only when I first started following badminton closely. So I started badminton essentially after I came to the UK. Like before that, and I came to the UK in 2008. Before that, it was just watching on TV, maybe go knock around with friends. That's it. After I arrived in the UK 2008, just completely went nuts with badminton. Like played 6 days a week. Start from there, and then obviously I was aware of the national circuit. I think back in that time, you're probably you're at the top. Andrew Smith was also at the top.
Yeah, 2008 was Andrew Smith, Nathan Rice, Raj Youssef,
Yes,
Carl Baxter,
Carl Baxter. Yes,
myself. There was a few others as well. There was a good, I'd say, 6 of us that were like the clear top.
at a good level.
2008 we saw a few others. Like I think Amir Gaffer retired. Nick Kidd, was he might have stopped as well around that period. There were a few.
Yes.
There was a few that dropped off at around. So obviously 2008 was when I kind of got into the top 3 or 4 in the country. I was in that position for about 4 years.
Wow. Okay. And then so now you're passing all these valuable lessons to the players that you're working with, and then also now in terms of seeing it from the other side, online, and then also now commentary, like passing all that golden nuggets of experience.
Although I would say the last 2 years, my coaching has been much more club level than elite level. I was coaching a lot of elite players, or within England, like high county national players, like Georgina Bland, who was a national champion. But that over the last couple of years, I'm not doing so much.
Because you're doing more commentary.
Yeah, well, more. I am trying to kind of, in a way, I do enjoy coaching. It's got its pluses, definitely. Coaching club players has been quite fun, a different kind of way of coaching. But my goal with my social media content, YouTube stuff, and now the commentary is to try to make that less and have more talking about badminton being my main role within badminton. I enjoy that, maybe because it's new, it's fresher, it's something a bit like that, but also it's a little bit, coaching's very, very exhausting. It's something that you probably can't do for 20, 30 more. I can't see myself wanting to do it full time for another 20, 30 years, whereas I could commentary, talk about badminton.
You can do that.
I can do that forever.
Yeah. Well, because I think you just literally went on to the next question I had was, where do you see yourself growing online? Because obviously, because of the last 5 years of work that you've put in online, also with BWF community, also now with your YouTube channel and your Instagram channel, and now, moving on to events commentary as a start, where do you want to get to, or where do you think, or where would you like to get to? I think that's a better question.
I'd like to ideally have it in a position where YouTube, the social media, and commentary is my full time. Like a blend of those 3 things, which I think is definitely feasible.
It's a business, yes.
Yeah, it's not all year. The tournaments fill in the gaps, the YouTube talking, and then the social media is something that's a bit fun, a bit different, that also blends into the week. I could obviously keep a little bit of coaching. I can't foresee, maybe it'd be a position where I wouldn't have to, or I could pick and choose much more. But if that was to never fully go, I wouldn't be too disappointed. But I just want to see more growth in absolutely every area, especially the content creation. How much growth in terms of the BWF TikTok stuff, I'm not sure where, unless they just start to pay you a bit more money, or they suddenly want 3 videos a week. I'm not sure whether that's ever going to happen, but obviously the YouTube channel subscriber count going up, Instagram subscriber account going up. That would be really nice. I've got the goal to reach your level, CK. That 100 you're seeing. I'm not sure if I can see anyone in the background, your YouTube.
Plaque. No, it's not the plaque actually. So this is not the plaque. This is just a box that.
The
they sent a
They
sent a clapper.
Silver plaques. That would be nice.
Yes.
Not many in the badminton world that can claim to have that.
Not many active ones. No,
not active ones. No. So I'd like to join that club. Ones. But I think that's obviously
we would love to welcome you to the club.
Yeah, and commentary. I'd love. BXL is expanding. They definitely want to. It's something they're looking to grow over the future. It's not like this is it. They're really behind trying to make it work. So I want to be a part of that, and potentially maybe even working with BWF on the commentary, because I know in 2027 they're expanding their TV production. The world's growing, so they're going to need more commentators. Because one of the things I was speaking to Des, he was like, some of the poor commentators are commentating for 10, 12 matches in a row. That is absolutely exhausting. And having done a broadcast where you're basically talking for 2.5 to 3 hours, and then it was usually an hour break, and then you go again. That was tiring enough. But some of these commentators are doing that in one block.
They're normally doing 5. I think speaking to a few of them, they do 5 straight away, like back to back. So 5 of them. It's
probably
long,
5 hours. You'd probably say, wouldn't you?
It could be more nowadays because matches are going to an hour and a half now. Like top level, an hour and a half could be the norm now. I think that's why going to 3:15, three sets by 15 might actually be something that's actually good for TV and also for all the crew and actually everyone around it. We all think as a fan maybe it's only impacting 2 or 4 people on court, but technically you're probably impacting it. I would say maybe 100 that's actually inside the hall itself. So yeah.
But no, actually, I already had his contact detail with the guy that's behind, I think, deciding. I think he's the big boss.
Yes. Yes, I know who. Yes.
Yeah, so I've contacted him basically because I did, if you can't remember, there was a thing we have to call Game Changers, where they basically ran through the most influential players of the 2010s. And I was a player they asked to be interviewed, and this guy was the one running those interviews. And we did speak briefly then about commentary, but it kind of went nowhere. So I've kind of tried to pick up that. Now I've actually
conversation again.
I've a bit of a show reel. So let's see. Maybe I'll be part of the BRF commentary. We have to obviously see on that one because they've got quite a few people. Obviously, they've got the commentators set in stone, but I've noticed they've obviously had players like Chris Langridge, Jeff Lowe, and
Kirsty.
A few others relatively new to the team. So.
Yeah, I think Chris and Jeff are more permanent. I think they get a set number of tournaments a year, and then to fit in with their schedule as well. And this is as much as I'm aware. And then I think you have players like say Kirsty to Gilmore, who then when there's capacity and availability, and she'll just happily jump on. Yeah,
but maybe there's space for me as well. We'll have to see. I'd love to do it because I really did enjoy it. We'll have to see what people think. I mean, generally, the feedback's been pretty positive from. Obviously, you don't know if you're just in your own echo chamber. Your own followers are just bigging you up. It's quite hard to general public think. But the broadcasters and the producers were very happy with the commentary team, what they did at the BXL. So that is giving me confidence.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, BXL and BDF would be different as to how you would approach the commentary a little bit.
Very different, yes.
I'd like to think that I could probably adapt to either format.
Yeah. No, I mean, personally, for me, I would love to try. Actually, I'd be keen to try because I think, not as a main commentator because I think that one you have to earn your right to do that. Maybe perhaps as what they call a color commentator. But I think for everyone that doesn't understand, there's a main commentator who's the lead guy. And I think in everybody's terms, mainly that's more Gillian Clark. Yeah, she's the main commentator, and then whoever that she partners with is what they call the color commentator. And color commentators tend to be experts in the subject matter. And some more often probably is Steen or Chris Langridge, like experts within that field. Yeah, I don't know how I can be considered as an expert, but we'll find a way. Hopefully one day. Yeah, I think I know enough. I see enough, and then also I would love to give it a go one day if there's.
I'd also think you'd have some interesting perspectives and insights because you must get to know some of the players quite well, which is a big part of.
I see a lot of them a lot of the time because of the work that we do, because of the work that my team and I do. I do have. Yeah, I've been in a very privileged position over the last 2 years. Yes,
and
it's been good.
We get to see each other more, CK, if I did become part of it.
Yeah, well, because I think we saw each other this time at the All England. Very, very quickly, and then we recorded 5-6 videos, which Tom gave some feedback on. So that wasn't the month where there's no changes needed. It was months that we had to do something about it. But no, I really enjoyed that process, and again, always looking forward to seeing more of you. Actually,
cool.
Last one. Do you have any questions for me? And by extension, Victor, which I can pass back at some point.
You could pass it back.
He'll be watching and listening, so he can actually respond to you directly.
Oh, have I got any questions? I think a lot of the questions we've kind of been asking as we've been going along in this conversation. For Victor, I'd like to know what he thinks of the future for BXL, because obviously he's the ambassador, so he's quite heavily involved. What would he like to see maybe they could do differently, whether that's from how it's packaged, how it's produced, how it's sent out, to how the players were looked after, from the players' perspective, because he's obviously got loads of different hats on. He could probably see it from lots of different angles.
Yes.
Because I know, speaking to one person, one thing they quite would like to do is actually make the media day more. Because it was just one day for 4 teams. They would probably like one day for each team would be speaking
Probably
to them.
Cost was an issue. Let's put it that way.
Cost and just purely like last minute. It was a bit lastminute.com for a few of them. In general, getting the idea, a few people that came in had only been employed a few weeks before the event as well. So that didn't help, but they're looking to move forward. But I'd like to know what Victor's thoughts were, being a player, being the ambassador, what he thinks. Generally speaking, I wanted to ask him what he thought.
Yeah, well, he actually fed this back to me already, but then I'll leave that for him to answer that himself, because I think that's like you said, he's the ambassador of it, and a lot of it, he has very, very good insight and also experience, like you said, many hats, like as a player, as part of the organizing back team, and then also seeing the big picture overall. Like he has access to all of them. So we will follow up with him on that one.
Yeah, and maybe what his thoughts were on what I said about him and his matches.
Well, Victor, Ben's put you on the spot now.
Positive. Don't get me wrong, I was positive. I actually thought moving smoother and better, especially in defense, than I'd seen him in his first tournament. So clearly he's getting his injury recovery is getting better and better. I think he did mention that in his own commentary, but it was noticeable that he was in certain areas that were looked a bit on edge in these first 2 tournaments definitely look better. So it's positive signs for him and for his fans. So
I said to him, matches look okay. Matches look much better. Better speed compared to Hong Kong and China was literally my text message. I said like better speed compared to Hong Kong and China, and he goes, "Yep, I'll be back. I just need a bit of time." Very, very professional. Very, very straight to it. I think this is why we love Victor for that kind of professionalism. Really, really, the amount of dedication that he puts in. And currently he's really committed to Vega and Aya, in terms of as a family. And so he will be back. I'm very certain. And then unfortunately we miss him today, but you will see him, Ben. Like he will be back in person, and we'll see him very soon. No, I think, thank you so much. This will be. I'm just looking at the recording clock. This is probably the longest episode that we've ever had.
Wow.
So you hold the record for the longest episode, I think.
I mean, that goes with I think what people know me for is to talk for far too long about badminton. Like my is gone forever.
It's a chat.
It isn't. Yeah. Sorry, chat. Yeah. Sorry, chat. But so it's no wonder that your chat with me has gone on the longest so far on your channel.
I mean, we both have quite a lot to say, I think. We both have quite a lot to say. And then, I think from our side, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you so much for coming on. And actually this episode will go out very, very soon. And then, in terms of feedback, let us know. We would love to have you on. So I'm going to, thank you. I'm going to cut the recording now. In China, for some reason, if you go to any badminton tournament in China, crowds often shout, "Flick him, flick her, flick him, flick her." So I also heard this at the King's Cup. I think when during the exhibition match, Lin Dan and Taufik was on the other side, the crowd was shouting to Lin Dan, "Flick him, flick him, flick him. We want to see the backhand, flick him."